live on YouTube.
We're
If you guys
trying
are
something new.
watching, we are trying a new streaming right now. Um, so we're
I'm gonna
seeing
pull
how this
y'all
is
up.
gonna go. Yeah, we're gonna
It's
see how
on
it goes. Oh, we are live. We're actually doing the thing.
somehow.
Well, we're only 73 episodes in. Didn't take
AB's
this long
here.
at all. Oh, yay. Okay.
No power. Oh no.
That's no good.
That is no good. I'm gonna make sure I plug this phone in. I have not figured out how to have YouTube on my computer at the same time as trying to be,
So are you filming from your phone then?
No, I'm filming from my laptop, but I don't know
Okay.
how to get YouTube to run in the background without talking to me.
I understand that.
And actually, this is talking to me too. I'm hearing like a little something. I don't
So
know.
for those of you at home, we're trying a new streaming program that hopefully for you guys means no difference
Nothing.
at all.
Yeah.
But for us, it means that we will be able to record it separately and at a higher resolution, which means it'll be easier for us to put together like shorts of our funny bits, so that we can
It'll also
promote
be
this more.
easier to see our acne.
Yeah, I put on makeup today, and my 6-year-old said, "Mom, why do you not have red spots on your face?" And I said, "Well,
Well,
child, I put on makeup." And then she's like, "I want to learn how to put on makeup." And I'm like, "Your skin is flawless. You do not need it." And that didn't go over well. She still wants to know how. So,
that's
but
fair.
yes, we were joking. I have a story up right now. My phone didn't know who I was. Twice I went to pay with facial recognition. It was like, no, you need to enter your code. You're too put together. We don't know who this person is.
Who is this person and why are they pulled together? Clearly trying to use your phone.
I know. And like I have the studio lights on today. So like I am looking like
We're
the Stephanie
glowing.
Sebbing that normally
The
like
Quilt Addicts Anonymous
I
Stephanie
know
Sebbing.
that version, not the one who shows up in a moo every Friday night. And
I know.
I need to give you we need to meet in person so I can give you my light sets because then you can also have the glow.
I mean, I'm not completely unglowy, but I'm not dewy glowy like
You
you.
know, it's I literally have so many watts of power just like coming right at my
I
face. And then
I have
also
my grow
illuminating the
lights above me.
background. So there's that too. I
I
mean,
got my
I've got
cool
the
dude in the background.
you
My
do.
DJ dog. I changed it so it's not going to change during this segment over and over and over again.
Okay.
But he's permanent now.
But
For
yeah, we're
now.
pretty excited. But hello, AB, and
And
hello,
Brittany.
Brittany.
Brittany helped me
So
today a lot.
yeah,
Brittany, I
so
was
why
able
don't
to
you
move my
talk?
chair over.
We were talking today. We're like, we got to get back on the like cleanup bandwagon because Chantel traveled a lot, and I was sick more days in February than I was
Yeah.
well. So we were pretty much almost
And
not on at
last
all.
week I ended up having a surprise funeral, which nobody wants, but was inevitable.
What funerals are planned? There's no planned funeral. They're
No,
all
there's
surprise
not.
funerals.
I mean, it was one of those situations that was exceptionally surprising.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like we drop what we do and we go do it. So that was
And
last
Chantel's
week.
like, she's like, I can go live, and I'm like, no, you're
No,
not.
you can't. I'm like, no, I can.
You're going to a funeral. You need to feel the feelings, and we will be back up next week.
It's true. It ended up being okay.
Yes.
And
So.
It was a nice weekend to see family and friends and things like that too.
So
I wasn't far from you.
You weren't, but we didn't make it to see one another, which is sad. But you had other things going on.
I didn't get a potato. So every time I come to visit Stephanie, I have to get a potato at Hungry Hobo. And I did not get a potato.
Have I ever told you I had to write their website copy? And I had to write, it was like 75 characters for every single menu item. And there were more than 50 menu items that I had to come up with creative copy for in 75 characters or less. And I got paid to do that. And I hated every moment of it.
So this is why you don't eat the potatoes.
I mean, that's one reason. Also, I was a vegetarian at the time that I did the website, and apparently they use lard when they make their bread. So their bread is not vegetarian,
Oh,
even
that's why
though
it's so tasty.
one would think that,
What about the
bread would be
potatoes?
veg. I don't know about the potato. I mean, obviously, if there's bacon in it, it's not vegetarian, but the rest of it, I think, would be fine.
I mean, Midwest vegetarian includes bacon, I feel like, but whatever.
I mean, it was sausage pizza that ended up making me cave eventually. 7 months and a sausage pizza did it.
I was vegetarian for a good 6 months, actually, while I was in Chicago. And it was good for me. I felt good, but I also
Yeah.
missed everything.
It was pre-children.
Mm-hmm,
I don't
yep.
think I could do it now because you have to just, like, deal with it when you have the children. But, like, it was challenging because I had to make everything separate from my husband because he wasn't gonna be vegetarian.
Yeah,
Except
same.
one time I made a bolognese with, they make a meat substitute that looks and tastes like ground beef, but it's from eggplant. And so I made a bolognese with it, and I didn't tell him until after he was eating it that it was not real meat, and he, like, never trusted bolognese I made again after that. It was a really long time.
You not only you ruined his trust.
This is true. This is
Oh
like
my
when I
gosh.
accidentally used cumin instead of cinnamon in the pumpkin pie this
Or
year,
that time you taught me how to bake and
and
you
we
used
put
salt
salt instead
instead
of
of
sugar.
sugar for the peanut butter. Peanut butter.
There's a trend here going on.
Hmm.
But
I'm not seeing it. We're gonna, yeah, no, I'm
we are
kidding.
gonna talk about quilting because this is a quilting show.
We
As
just
much
like
as
to get started by chatting and then we kind of move on with our life because
we enjoy the self-deprecating humor. Um,
it's great for us.
but
Maybe
we're
not for
thinking we
you.
need well, my life is an open book. We already talked about the things that we won't say live on the internet, so it's fine.
We have to go through that every week to make sure that
Believe
we
it
don't
or not,
accidentally bring it up.
there are details that we do keep to ourselves.
What?
Maybe hard to
Hard to
comprehend when
believe.
you're
But
some of the
we don't
things we
tell you
talk about.
everything.
No. Something stayed between us.
I don't know. Some things happen at 11 o'clock.
I know.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
But anyway, so we need to get back on track because we've been off the, sewing room reset for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And both of our sewing rooms have gotten a little messy again.
They got a
I
little out
have
of
a
hand.
legitimate excuse. My storm drain backed up last weekend.
Mine's not
And
legitimate.
oh, well, it's okay.
It's okay.
Everything in this area was fine. It was all contained to the unfinished side, which is fantastic. However, I had to let the drain guys in through here because the clean out is kind of like right back in that
Oh
corner.
yeah.
So I had to move all my lights. I couldn't be down here for like a week because one, it stunk, and
That's
two,
true.
I just had like all my lights back here, so I
Oof.
didn't fit back here. So I
Yucky.
finally moved everything back because I absolutely had to film today and I couldn't put it off any longer. And it literally took me 5 minutes, and I was like, why didn't I do this like days ago?
That was
One of those
the thing of
tasks.
the day, was one
Yeah.
of those things with Brittany, and I'm like, I've been procrastinating this project for 2 years. And it took us like 43 minutes or something
I
like
know.
that to do the entire project. I'm like,
Don't
2
you hate that?
years.
So I have a bunch of stuff. We were supposed to clear floors, which I didn't do.
I have more
And
floor. What am I
so
sitting
now
in, Stephanie?
you're sitting in your fancy chair because you could roll it around your desk.
It's right there.
Look at
It's right there.
you.
I was able to get it around. The goal was met. The main
Oh,
goal was
goodness.
met. I mean, it was Brittany. She's like, look at how much we got done. I'm like, you got this done, because I wouldn't have been able to do it if you weren't here to actually
Yeah.
poke at me to
So
make it
I
do it.
have like a whole stack of things that should have been put away on the floor that are currently on my cutting surface. So now I can't use my cutting surface. So now I like legitimately have to deal with it if I'm going to make anything, which I do have to make something. I need to make our quilt blocks for our cruise trip for the Mediterranean quilting cruise, which
Yes.
you talk about that while I put the tab in.
I was going to talk about the fact that life happens. And so this is the most hilarious cleanup you've probably ever followed as a decluttered, event, because this is real life. Like, keeping my counter clean is really hard. But on to the Mediterranean. So we are taking a cruise to the Mediterranean in October, and we hope all of you guys can come. It's 10 days.
That
Do you
sounds
have it
about
pulled
right.
up yet?
I mean, I did, but currently I'm pinning the message
So
to
I'm
the top.
teaching English paper piecing. That's what I know the best. And so I'm going to be doing a center block that's part of a larger quilt. Stephanie's going
10
to be
days.
doing foundation paper piecing. So the center of the block will be a hand sewn piece. The outer blocks will be foundation paper piece with some traditional paper, with traditional piecing.
I think I'm going to do, I haven't decided. It's a weird size. So
Yeah.
we could do it just with cutting things to weird sizes, or we could do foundation paper piecing. I haven't fully decided what I'm doing with that one yet.
But we do have a rough layout of what we're doing. My part is done. You can watch the video. I don't have my block right here. I have it upstairs.
Okay.
I lied. It's right over there. I'm a liar.
Well, she's got it. But it's 10 days. We are starting off in Barcelona, and then we are traveling to Malta, Sicily, Naples, Rome, Pisa, Nice, France, and then back to Barcelona. And we have 3 sea days where we will be teaching you English paper piecing and foundation paper piecing. So one's by hand, which is what Chantel's holding up now, and then one is on the machine. So you'll go home with 2 new or better improved skills if you've already tried one of them. And the pattern is inspired by Mediterranean tile work. So we want your project to, one, be achievable while you're on board, although you're never pressured to finish. If you would rather gab and have a cocktail, then so that's fine. I mean, we're not gonna
we're pro that machine. Obviously. We care a lot about the gabbing and cocktails.
And so but you know, you will have the skill set you need to finish it at home if you don't get it done on the ship. But we wanted it to be manageable enough to where you could do it. It's a wall hanging, and have it be kind of a souvenir. So it's inspired by the tile work that is popular in the Mediterranean. So that way, every time you look at it, you remember your trip and you remember all that cool tile you saw when you got there. And that just made you think of quilt patterns, because that's what we saw when we looked at the tile. So I need to clear off my tables so I can do my foundation paper piece section, get that done for you guys. So that's going to happen. That's my next to do. I've had a few things this week. So I'm doing a fair amount of work with Riley Blake right now, which is fantastic. They are currently the biggest fabric manufacturer in the US. Apparently they're bigger than Moda now, which blew my mind when I found that out. But I've been doing, when you're a pattern designer, you're often asked to contribute to design calls, which means they have a new fabric collection out. Not everybody can envision how that fabric will look in a finished project.
Right.
So they often ask designers to make the quilts digitally. So I've had a couple of collections that they've sent my way with specific patterns.
Oh, it's freezing on me.
That we're working on, that we are not quite, I mean, I suppose we can say it. Rain John want us to focus on this one, but we also are doing another cruise in 2027.
It's true.
And you heard it here. We're going to Indonesia, and Riley
Thailand,
Blake is coming.
And Malaysia, and
yeah. So it's going to be really exciting. We're going to actually get to do some batik making workshops. And Cindy, who is the owner of Riley Blake,
will be teaching
on board with us. Yeah, she's teaching and she's on board, as well as Reba Worotikin, who I've known for a decade, back when she had her own batik.
She has the coolest job.
Company. Oh yeah, and now she's the head of batik for Riley Blake. So, which leads me to the other thing that I had to do today. I am. We've talked about it on here.
Just before, drop all the bombs.
Like officially announced it, but I'm designing batik for Riley Blake, so it's just really exciting. And so today I picked out all 21 fabrics that are going to be in my collection, and I can't show you guys.
Why wasn't I allowed to be a fly on the wall for that? I feel like I have like the end at least a little bit.
I'm literally not allowed to show it to anybody until July.
It's
July 15th. It's like I might have to kill you if I show you anything. But although Reba did hold it up in a meeting that you were in.
That's
So
true. I mean,
she
I got
showed
to
it to
see
you.
one shot.
Yep. So I got to pick all that out today, and
They are
I picked,
very excited about it for you.
oh my gosh, when I was on the meeting today, it was with Reba and the head of design,
Mhm.
and they were so excited with how the collection is looking. Um, Reba came on in November, maybe
Mhm.
October, and Batik in general has not modernized. And Chantel and I,
Batik is batik. I
yeah,
mean,
we've talked a little bit about maybe help changing that, and it might be something that is we might get a
well,
stab at
we're gonna
doing.
give it, some effort. And you being working in batiks right now
Yeah,
and pushing forward your designs,
yeah. But
it's good stuff.
the batik making process is incredibly long. So, for
It's
example,
very antiquated when you really think about it. It is
it's
not
all
like
hand
modern screen
stamped.
printing. It's like out in fields,
Yeah.
getting sunned under wax.
So, to give you an idea of timeline, in November, I was asked if I wanted to do it. And in order to get it done to where it would be available for our cruise in January
Mhm.
2027, I had a week to come up with designs. And I was like, hold my beer, let's figure it out. And
Right?
so
You really did.
I did it. I figured it out. And I needed a little help with the repeats on that one because I was just like, here are my
Here's
thoughts.
the best. Yeah.
Make it happen. And so that was November. It is now March, and I now have the actual fabrics to choose from. And batik making strike-offs are very different than rotary screen print strike-offs. In rotary screen print strike-offs, like when I did Nocturne, we were looking at digital images. Like there was no actual fabric. With
They don't
batik,
make that fabric until they make that fabric. But
yeah,
batik, they have to make that fabric.
they
There
do.
is no digital.
So the factories dye it and they take all the color combinations I sent in and they do what I suggested plus what they know from their knowledge. And then I got probably 40 plus prints to choose from, to narrow down to
That's really
21.
cool.
And so some of them were super easy to be like, this is not it. This is
Oh,
not
this is
in the
not it.
vision.
This is muddy. I can imagine right now that there were
Yeah.
some that were just like, ooh.
And then I actually got it down to 22 on my first pass, which I thought
Oh
was pretty
gosh.
good.
That
And
must
then
have been really hard to choose one that's like, you
yes
know how
and
I am. I'm
no.
like, can't we just pick one more?
I know. But well, and then when we were going through it, I was like holding up and naming off the SKUs. And I was like, honestly, this is the one to go. And they're like, I totally agree. Because it was like the one that I personally loved because it was a really great like teal,
Mm-hmm.
but there was no color movement within it. And
It shows
was like
itself.
it was
Yeah.
just a straight teal. Like there wasn't like teal and another color in it to give it some more visual interest.
Depth and things
So
like that.
I still have them all. They're going in my stash, but they are not going to be printed in mass. And AB is wondering if I'm going to be able to have new fabrics in my existing patterns. So yes. So my next step at this point
Stephanie
is
has a lot burning in her fire
I
right
do.
now.
So there's been so much happening behind the scenes. Like I now own the intellectual property of Cold Addicts Anonymous again, which is super exciting.
It's huge.
And I mean, I don't have confirmation of that from the court system, but the check has arrived.
It's
So
close enough.
I'm saying I own it. It's fine. It's a matter of time before I get a paper that says so.
We're
So
framing that like your first dollar in your business.
I need to. I really need to. But so I'm able to promote patterns again, which is great. I'm able to promote Shop.Quilt Addicts Anonymous again because I own it now and I didn't before. And then also, I will be selling kits and pre-cuts and maybe a small amount of yard bundles.
Yes.
From this. I'm not going to be in the business of cutting yards and yards
You're
of
not
fabric.
a fabric shop, but you will
not gonna
sell
happen.
portions of your own fabric
Yeah.
in kits for your favorite people, basically.
Yeah. So basically,
So
it's now
anybody
March.
that's on here,
Yeah. it's now March. Now that I've decided what's going to be where and how the colors are going to split up, it gets scanned. And then I make digital quilts of the patterns that I think will best work from my extensive 150 patterns I've done over my career. I'm going to pick the best 3. And
Right.
that is, I'm going to make those digitally. And then I believe all of them will be available as a pre-made kit and then also pre-cuts. So that is going to be available for pre-order on my website in July. And whenever the last call happens, that's when I'm going to cut it off. And I am just going to sell whatever is pre ordered plus like 10% because I want to make sure that I'm really smart about it this time around and I only order what's sold.
It doesn't mean
Because,
it's all that's available. Like Riley,
yeah,
like we'll sell this to other quilt stores, which will be
absolutely.
able to sell it to you. So, you know, if you're a
If you
fat
want
quarter
yardage,
company person, or you have a favorite quilt store, you can request that they
absolutely.
provide this. This is not a problem. But
Absolutely.
if you want to guarantee yourself a bundle of it, then July is your time to make sure that you
Or if you really
jump on
like
that.
love and want to support me, obviously I make a royalty on fabric sold and they're very excited about it. They think it's going to do very well. But you know, I make a lot more if I sell it direct
That's
than that.
true.
But I mean, we're gonna be filling this out of my garage. My garage is very nice. Like I redid the whole
Oh,
thing.
it's the man shed. It's
It's
not a garage.
it is. It's a man cave at this point. It's very messy at this point. My husband has let it get a
You
little
know,
insane.
well, I
But
speak that flippantly, but
my goal is to like bring Mary, who used to do our shipping and is my neighbor,
she's
over
great.
for the weekend and just unpack boxes of kits and
I've always wanted to
pre-cuts
be the folder. Can I come over?
and then send them right back out. I don't think there's going to be too much folding. I think I'm going to order one full collection on bolts because I want yardage of my own fabric.
I want
Um
yardage.
yes, to save for my kits. Like I saved a yard of everything that I did um
I
for my
kick myself
girls
for not having a
someday.
fat quarter bundle of your last bundle of
I might
fabrics.
have most of it as extra. But
Just being a good friend
but
here.
yeah.
I need my
So
yardage.
so I'll have a little bit available, but batiks sometimes like they're supposed to be on 10-yard bolts, but you really only can count on getting 9 yards out of that. And
Yeah. You don't have
like
your cutting machines anymore, so this is all people cut.
I do still have the cutting table
Mm-hmm.
and I can cut an entire bolt of fat quarters 15 minutes or less. So I am the fastest rotary cutter in the West, let me tell you. That's like 60 fat quarters in 15 minutes is what that is. And
I
there's
don't
a
know how you
method.
do that. I might
There's
be
a
the
method to the
slowest
madness.
cutter in the world.
Well, you do 3 yards at a time is what you do, and you layer it up, and this is why you go through one rotary blade, a shift. Every 4 hours, you got to change out that blade, and
Well, that's fair.
and then we would go through like one mat
I
a
like to
month.
use my rotary blade until it literally tries to cut me back and be like, I need to be
Yeah,
let
no,
go.
but
We have a lot of comments.
yeah, we do. What do we got? We got good for you. Congratulations. Thank you. My gosh, we had a home with a half a harful of fabric. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that would be a lot to go through.
Get the space cleaned. That's what we're doing. We're trying to do.
They're working on it. Well, my husband can deal with his own garage. I'm not going to do that.
But our
but yeah,
sewing rooms are our problem, and
they are.
little others.
So
I still blame you for my closet being upset because you're supposed to come help me with this closet.
We're supposed to lock ourselves in there, come up with names for my characters, and clean the closet.
Brittany brought that up, and I said, "Yeah, she got her character names, and they all stuck. I don't think you changed any of them.
I kept almost all, yeah.
Almost all of them got stuck, and I'm like, and here I am stuck with my closet.
Hey, there's
it's
still
my
more
problem
characters that need names sometimes. I have a Duchess who needs a name still.
Ooh, fancy.
I know, right? But
I'll come up with that one later. I'm not going to just spitball them here on live.
Well, they have to be English medieval inspired, and then we have to look up old English words that it's
It is a
with, like, the
two-person
characters.
project,
It
to be
is.
fair.
It very is. I wish I would have kept like an entomology library of how
Mm.
we came up with names.
Yeah,
Like
all the names that are in her book are the
this
segue
is
here.
my fiction book, by the way, not a quilting
Yes.
book.
All of her character names, we
I got
came
my
up
writing shirt on
through
today, by the way.
wonderful.
Of course.
All of the names in her book were actually figured out by like, what is this personality trait combined with this location, or
Yeah.
what is this characteristic combined with this physical characteristic, or this place is cold and it is located in an area that is prosperous, and you know, it was like
Yeah.
all of these things, and we just like
We're
I'm
just
like,
like
I
looking
don't think
up.
I'm gonna be able to send this in, and I'm like, we're doing this.
Yeah,
We figured them all out.
we did. We absolutely did. And so that was really fun to do. But yeah,
But we're a quilting show.
we are. We shouldn't talk too much. Although I am gonna have my writing coach on to talk about her book.
I think that's really cool, though. And we all have different hobbies. That's the thing about people with hobbies, is that they're hobbyists.
A good audiobook is essential for quilting.
Absolutely.
Essential.
I feel that. I like a nonfiction book when I am sewing because I don't want to think too hard. If I have a fiction book, I tend to piece out for a little while, and then I get back into the story, and I've missed very important items.
My most hilarious listening to a story, an audiobook, while sewing was when I was listening to The
With your
Art of
mother?
Racing. No. I was listening to The Art of Racing in the Rain by Garth Stein, and I was at Quilt Retreat. And it was right when the book came out, so this is like over a decade ago. I did not have children yet. And the premise of it is the story is told from the perspective of a dog who thinks that if he's a good enough boy, he'll be reincarnated as a human in his next life.
Oh God, what are you bringing up?
I know. So
it seems dark.
Oh no, it's not. I mean, parts of it are, but it's a happy ending.
Poor Cubby. I feel like he feels this way.
I know. So at the very end, of course, the dog passes on, and I won't spoil what happens afterwards, but I'm sitting at my sewing machine, tears streaming down my face in public with like 20 other quilters looking at me like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm fine. It's just a really good part of the book."
Oh God, this is like an awful book.
I'm just like crying these like tears of happy joy, and I gave my dad the book for Christmas because he saw my husband reading it. He's like, "I wanted to read that one," and he read it. And I was like, "Did you cry?" He's like, "No, I didn't."
But would you make me read it? This is how I know if the end is actually what the end is.
It's totally worth reading. It's way better than Marley and Me ending. Way better.
Okay.
Way better.
It's like Velveteen Rabbit ending.
You know, it's been so long since I've read the Velveteen Rabbit. Doesn't he come back as a bunny?
Yeah.
A real bunny?
Mm-hmm.
You will have similar vibes. Yes.
Good.
For sure.
Sorry, we just ruined a book for all of you, but I had to know.
It's okay.
I was not going to sleep on that one.
Highly recommend. But anyway,
what was it called again?
The Art of Racing in the Rain.
I just want to cry thinking about it.
The guy's owner is a race car driver, so that makes sense.
That makes a little more sense.
Yeah. But so it's a great book. There's a movie.
We had a real topic for tonight, by the way.
We did. We should get back to that. So
hey, thanks for joining us. We have real topics, I swear. We
back to cleaning. We thought, because we haven't actually made any progress on our own sewing. Oh wait, Chantel made progress. She wants to show you her floor. The fact that you can see most of it. I still see a pile there.
It's one pile. It used to be a conglomerate of piles.
Joan also cried at The Art of Racing in the Rain. So
Joan,
you're not
helping me here.
Look, it's a good ending. You know, you can trust me. You've heard all the book reports I've given you.
That's true. I'm waiting for the one that leads me astray. I mean, so what she's saying, she reads books voraciously.
Yeah.
And I read books occasionally. And so I'm a book a month person. So I'm not a bad reader, but like, I get through 12 to 15 books a year. Stephanie, when she's reading, really gets through the book. And the
2 to 4
best
a
part
month.
about having a friend like Stephanie
Yeah.
is that you can say, so what was that book about? What happened? What are, is it worth reading? And when it's not worth reading, she tells you everything in the book report. And it's like you got to read a book without having to read it.
Exactly. I told you a whole series earlier today.
I know.
And
I
you
went
got
through a
to
whole
miss it.
series in about 10 minutes. It was lovely.
Oh,
It
it was.
was everything I needed. All the important points were there.
So when I was originally reading the series, it was like one of those books where the plot is hanging on by a thread and is only there to string together the spicy scenes. And I did not think that was what I was getting myself into.
I like to think of it like my husband's chili, where it's making you cry as you eat it, but occasionally at the end of the flavor, you actually get a taste of what it actually tastes like because it's not hurting your soul with its jalapeno peppers.
So I originally started this series because it sounded cool in terms of its premise, and it had 4 different points of view. And I was at the time trying to figure out how to make sure I was differentiating the points of view in the book that I was writing. So this is why I started it. And then I realized what kind of a book I had gotten myself into. And I was like, I'm not going on to the second book. It's just not going to happen. But it plotted just hard enough at the end of book 1 to make me say, okay, I'm going to read 2. And then it did the same thing at the end of book 2 to get me to read 3. And
which is great for Chantel because it's like, oh, I get to hear 3 books in like 20 minutes and decide if that's something I like. You're very good about telling me what I need to know, what would be on the back of the book.
Yeah.
If the back of the book was your best friend trying to explain to you what is in a book, right?
Yeah.
You give me that, and then I'm like, I'm never going to read this. And you're like, okay, good. Let's talk about what it's actually talking about.
So she was
or not talking about
dying laughing as I was giving her these book reports for this one because I was like, oh my God, I cannot even tell you how ridiculous the scene is right now. But yeah.
There's so many people involved. Yeah. We talk about quilting. I swear.
Do. Let's get back to quilting. All right. So I was going to show off some of my organizational methods. That way, if you guys are further along than we are and you've actually cleared your crap off the floor and your surfaces, you can have an idea of how to store it in an aesthetic way that also allows you to find your stuff. Because there is nothing.
What's your filing system, essentially?
Yeah. There's nothing more frustrating to me than knowing I have the thing, but not knowing where the thing
is.
And then the second you buy the replacement thing, you find the original thing. And that drives me insane.
Have you ever done that with a remote control in your house? Because we have extra remote controls because we have lost remote controls, gave up, bought new ones, and the new one literally makes the old one show up. I swear
it. Yes, it is 100%.
And that is the premise of a sewing room.
All right. So with this new software that we're using, I already have an overhead camera queued up. Ooh, there we are. All right. I have to.
And we are turned kind of 180 of where we want to be. Not 80, 90.
Oh, it's fine. We'll live.
This is really cool. Again, new software. So we're not,
we're figuring it out. Actually, you know what? I can rotate this sucker, can't I?
I was going to say, I have one of those. I'm pretty sure you could just turn it. Let's see if it has a moment here. There we go.
Are we better? All right. Let's see if I can. I think I went too far one way or the other. Okay.
We can see your keyboard.
I know.
We'll get it right, people.
It's not going to be awesome. It'll be good enough. Okay. We're getting it figured out. Can we at least be straight?
I know that bothers me too, but it is what it is. Yeah. Close.
The problem is there's a delay. So
I know.
Can't tell if I'm
straight. You're good. You're good.
Okay. There we go. All right. So, number 1, our yardage. So this is how I store my yardage. Chantel does it also like this, just she likes to have her fabric covering the
We can talk
cardstock
about the
completely.
differences here in a second because I'll pull out
Yeah.
one of mine too.
But essentially what I do is this is uh acid-free cardstock that is meant for comic book board storage. And so it's meant to store items long term without having the acids that you sometimes find in papers present. So that way you can have your fabric in here long term without having to worry about it being damaged by the material that it's wrapped around.
Right.
So essentially, what I've done is I've created mini bolts, and these come in a couple different sizes as well. So depending on the height of your shelf, you might want to see which one fits best. When I started doing this, I was able to go to a comic book store and have them give me a couple samples so that I could see what would fit, and then I just went back and bought a whole pack.
Which ones do
And
you use?
um I don't know because I don't have the sheet
I think you use
anymore.
standard or classic, if I remember right.
Probably.
I use
But
silvers,
so what you can do is
but it's what fits on
on
my shelf.
you can get these on Amazon. There's like 5,000 in a package. These are called
I have some right
alligator
here.
clips. They're plastic and they're very cheap. And essentially, what you're going to do is you're going to fold your fabric so that it is either the exact height of your board or maybe a little taller, like what Chantel does. Or in my case, I like it to look like an actual bolt like you would see in the fabric store. So I fold mine to a little bit shorter than the height of it. And then you just wrap it around, and then you're going to tuck the raw edge in, put your alligator clip on, and then once you have enough of these, you can just store them upright and it looks fabulous on your
It
shelves.
looks like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what you want. So Chantel, why don't you say how you do yours a little different?
So I'm a little different in that I use a different size. So I use silvers, which are bigger in one of the measurements. I couldn't tell you if it's width or height. But it worked better for my shelving. So my shelving's over here. It was going to fit just about perfectly. The big difference that Stephanie and I have is that she likes to fold it so that the board is showing a little bit, just like if it were sticking up like this, right? I fold mine exactly in half and wrap it around, and there's a little overhang on either side. But I like it better for cutting right off the bolt. I also use the alligator clips, and I have two different kinds of alligator clips. These are like when you go to a nice place and you try on a dress shirt for a man. These are the clips that they use to keep all the dry cleaning shirts or whatever together. They're very cheap. Half of them will be broken in the package that you buy. I can almost guarantee it. But the other
Mine,
half are pretty
I've
good.
had really good luck with mine. It hasn't
I've
done
had
that for
them
me.
where a lot of them are broken, but they send you so many that it doesn't really matter anyways. But
Jan,
that's the big difference.
Jan, you don't really have to worry about the brand name of the board. You just have to make sure that they're the acid-free comic book boards.
Yeah.
What they do in comic book boards is there's also acid-free plastic sleeves that they go inside of, and then it just keeps the comic book nice and sturdy so it doesn't get bent. So this is something
So
that
here's
collectors
my
keep. Yeah, exactly.
So mine are silvers. 7 by 10.5. I believe yours are like 6.5 by 10.5 or something like that.
Inexpensive. Like you can for about $10 get a pack of 100. And so, and you will be surprised how much fabric you have. But
it's true. I've gone through boxes of these things.
I'm at least on my fourth or fifth. But I do this for apparel fabric. It works for really thick apparel fabric too. And it just makes it look super nice, super put together. And then you can see your entire stash, which is what I really appreciate. Because if it's piled up in bins, especially if it's not a clear
You're digging, you can't judge how many yardage you have. I mean, I can look over here and tell you right now that you can probably tell from here, this is more yardage than some of these other ones that are over here. And right off the bat, when you're over there, you can tell what is thick and what is thin. And it gives you an idea of like, oh, maybe this is enough for a backing, or maybe this is just enough for a few blocks.
speaking of backings, I also am able to put 108-inch wide backings on this pretty easily. That's not a problem. And it doesn't take up a ton of space. And if I'm ever doing something that is a solid, what I do is I write the name in pencil of what the solid is called, what the manufacturer is, and how many yards are on there.
That's a
Because
good point
then I
because a lot of
know
solids are not
if I
labeled.
can find it. Exactly. Okay, so that's how we store our yardage. And then Chantel and I both, we have different bins that
Hmm.
we use for this, but we both have the same process. I use, because they're very easily accessible, the Bright Room storage from Target. These are
And I
stackable.
would suggest you use those too because
Yeah,
they are not going to go out of print kind of thing. You know, you're going to be able to find them.
they're stackable, and I do have a video on how I fold them to fit in here, but these are all fat quarters, and when they're stackable, it means that anything underneath is also protected from dust,
Yes.
which is great. So I have 7 bins of Tula fat quarters of these,
I have
all
more.
arranged in color order.
But
And yeah, it's a lot. But it's great because like when I was doing the project for the cruise in Alaska, I had a set of Allison Glass fat quarters that I had not used that I
grab one
liked, but
more.
I didn't get a chance to actually use. So I was really easy to just like go grab it, and they all went together, and then I needed a couple more, so I was able
It
to
wasn't
go to like
unlike this. Here's my
yeah,
Allison Glass ones. These are not in color order, but at the same time, most of
yeah.
mine are in color order. But at a quick glance, I can see what I have, and you do the same thing. I have a bin of
It's
yours. I
also
have your purple bin.
really it's also really easy to see like where your holes are. So like I don't know about you guys.
I'm missing green. Clearly, I
Yeah,
just don't have enough green, but look at how much. I mean, my colors are always the warmer colors. You're going to get less of the cooler colors with me. But it's pretty quick off the bat that you can see that
yeah.
I'm missing my greens, I'm missing my purples.
And like before I was a pattern designer, I would just collect colors for a while until I felt I had enough to do a quilt. And so right now I'm kind of in the collection stage for Halloween. And so it's really easy to see. I have a ton of orange, I have a ton of black, I have a ton of purple, but I could use some more of like the funky Halloween colors, like some
Right,
pink
you
and
need
some
some of the
greens,
lime greens,
you
maybe a touch
know?
of pink, a fuchsia,
Yeah. So
things
it's
like
really
that.
easy to see like, oh, I have a ton of this, but the next time I'm out, I need to keep in mind that I might like this. And
Hmm.
what I like to do is put up to half yards in here. I have done full yards, but I feel like it gets pretty bulky. Like this one here is a half yard, whereas the rest of them are all probably more like quarter yards or fat quarters. Um, and it's just a really easy way to see what you have and then be able to utilize it, which is the goal, right? We want to be able to see what we have so we can shop
Yep.
our stash first. And then when we're missing something, that's when you go to the quilt shop.
This is essentially all of my bolds. It's my Anna Maria and my Cave. And so I keep this together versus mixed with this
Hmm.
because for me, this is like applique fabric, right? Like it's stuff that I'm going to pick through to get all the unique patterns or whatever. So you don't necessarily have to just go by color or just by designer.
Hmm.
These are fabrics that I would purposely try to like fussy cut big pieces from. And then I have others that are by designer. Like I have some that are chest Tula. I
Hmm.
have some that are chest Heather Ross. Um, I have some that are just a certain color. Like they're so nondescript that it's like these are mostly warm colors. I might have a whole bin of just warm colors, you know,
Hmm.
and then I might have a bin of just cool colors in random designers. And a lot of that stems from the fact that I was part of stashing, and some of those collections are not from designers that I have enough from to actually purposely have a bin just for them.
I do like if I have a whole collection, like if I buy a fat quarter bundle, I
Hmm.
do like to keep it together so that
Me
way,
too.
unless
Sometimes I keep
unless
them still together on the wall.
unless it's like a Tula or an Allison Glass where I have multiple of
Hmm.
that designer, then I mix it into color order. But for the most part, I do it by like all my basics are in a bin by color order. All my solids are in a bin by color order. And then I sometimes will expand to manufacturer because a lot of times they play nice together. But like I have all of my canvas in one for just bag projects. There's nothing to go with it, but it
I have
exists.
like
So
Tula piles of
yeah.
these are bigger bins that are half, you know, half yard. So you can be flexible to what's going to work for you. If you buy fat eighths, find a bin that's going to work for your half eighths. If you are
These work
mostly
for
a
fat
scrap
eighths
user,
too.
find a way to make piles for your scraps. But separate them by color or by designer. Have some way of filing them. I mean, you wouldn't look for papers in the file box without having some sort of file system. So think about what you look for in a fabric. Do you always look for the color without looking for a designer? Do you look for designer first? It's not unlike organizing a library. What category do they fall into, and that's the container you put them in.
So when it comes to project storage and UFO, I like to use scrapbook bins. I buy mine from Michaels because I like the clear ones so that I can see the color of the fabric through it and know exactly what's in it. And this is great for me because if I have, like, say I bought a kit or something, um, I can put everything I need for that, including the pattern, in it. And then I'm not like accidentally taking binding that I meant for that project and using it somewhere else. And for things that are in progress, it's a way to make sure I don't lose anything. So you guys have seen me work on this a couple of times. This has been in progress for a couple of years. And my main camera is going to be, let's turn it this
There
way.
we
So
go.
you guys can see
We
me.
can see you.
There we go. Now it's not like a filter on there. But I've got my ornament collection that I've been working on, here, there, and the other place whenever I get a wild hair to pull it out. And I'm almost done with all the blocks for it, which is great. But I have all my extra fabrics in here. So if something gets screwed up and I decide I need a little more, it's there. The pattern is in here. All of my extra background fabric is in there. So that way, if I've cut something wrong, I can do it. And I have everything I need right in here. And then also, if I'm going to go sew somewhere else, like if I'm going to go sew with a friend or I'm going on quilt retreat, I just grab this and I go. So like when Chantel and I did our first retreat together, when we kind of hooked up again for the first time since college,
we dated again.
She's like bringing in all this stuff, and I brought in like
that's just basic me
and 3 bins. And these were my projects, and some of them were projects that had been in progress for like a decade.
No
and
hate
all
on my
the stuff was
project
there.
situation, but yeah, I'm not a light packer.
It's fine. But I have been to a bunch of retreats before. I know how it goes, and
This
I know
is essentially my first retreat.
I know it's really easy to bring way too much stuff. And like if I'm going to go sew at a friend's for an afternoon, I pick this up, I put my sewing machine in my carrying case, and I'm set. I don't have to wonder, did I forget something? I just have everything ready to go. So that's super helpful for me. And they stack really nice. So that way they look nice on my shelves too. And they're protected from dust when I'm not
dirt, centipedes, and other creatures.
I mean,
if you have Lord Voldemort's in your basement like I did.
A Lord Voldemort, which by the way means a snake. That is a little different. But we also want to talk about pattern storage because we all end up with patterns as well.
Oh, I should probably briefly just I use, so I don't have anything fancy for mine. I use plastic bags, and I just shove everything that I need in the plastic bag, and the plastic bag goes into a drawer. It's a file drawer actually, so I could be laying them out in do you remember those bags when you'd go to the library and they'd have those special bags that like go I could literally be using those, but I have a million of these from ordering things from Stephanie. So that's pretty much what I use is these baggies, but the idea is that I put everything in. Now, had I cleaned my closet, Stephanie,
I know. We got to do this
I
someday.
might have room for real project bags and project containers. And I really love your idea of using the scrapbook box because they are the perfect size to be able to hold all your necessities, including your thread, including anything awkward, like if you
Exactly.
have like one of those spool things for your binding or anything like it's literally the perfect size to be able to carry all of it.
The other thing that really helps with this system is like you only have so much room, right? So for
This is
me,
why I like bags though, because
I
I can
know
shove.
if I want to start a new project, I need to have room for that bin. And
That's how I feel about my fat
you know,
quarters. I'm at the
yeah.
point where I only have so many bins, and because Bed Bath and Beyond went out of business, although they're being sold by other companies now, so at least my bins are still. Aren't they so pretty?
I know,
Like
it's
that
gorgeous.
alone makes me so happy. To be able to pet your fabric is a joy, and so I just suggest that you lay it out in an area in a way that makes you happy. So, if for me having my projects hidden makes me happier, whereas you being able to see them makes you happier.
I mean, it also reminds me that I have plenty to do without getting into a new
I
one.
mean, maybe that's a good thing.
Maybe,
I just
maybe.
get into more
I don't
trouble.
know. Joan says retreat packing is only limited by the size of my car. So
Amen.
for pattern storage, this is also from Target.
Oh, I
This
use
is
very
in the
similar
kitchen
bins.
section.
Yes.
This is meant for kitchen organization in your refrigerator. And so it's a little bit wider. And so it can accommodate both patterns, like dress patterns, as well as it will fit in your regular quilt size patterns that are a little bit wider. The only ones that I haven't been able to fit in these are some of the independent pattern designers are a little bit wider, so I have a different bin for those, and it's white, and it drives me nuts because I like a good clear container because then they don't have to be all from the same company. They just all look the same. So that's what I do. This is the kitchen section. And I
this
do
is a
have
kitchen
them
section one
arranged
too.
by designer and number because I'm that anal retentive.
Mine are not organized in any sort of way. It's like if you are in a bin, you are a pattern, and that is pretty much the organization. But essentially, I use the same bins that I use for my fabric, which you do too, except I turn mine on their side and they fit in here. So
Okay.
this is my quilting type patterns. But then I have a really hardy collection of antique patterns.
I have a bunch of those too. And I did put mine in acid free paper to kind of keep them a little bit
that's a
nicer.
really good idea.
Yeah.
I keep mine on display.
Bags.
And I change them out occasionally, like what's on the front. But these are at the Container Store. You can still get these from the Home Edit. They had them at Walmart for a while, but I just change out the front occasionally, and I use them mostly as art. I don't actually use the patterns, but they're really
I have
cool.
made some of the vintage patterns.
Most of these belonged to John's aunt, or so my Aunt Jane, and they were her mother's patterns. So I saved all of these from a basement.
1970s right there.
I know, right?
And
then we get back to the first one, which I would love to make a quilted coat out of that pattern, that kind of like cape front pattern. But I'm not brave enough to do it
someday.
I know, right? Look at how cute that is.
We also
there's ways you just gotta find a way to measure your things.
We wanted to talk about what to do with the PDF patterns you buy too, because like for example, a lot of my PDFs. So we're showing you two digital storage ways. One's digital, and then one is if you're actually going to print everything out. So this is just a gigantic binder, and again, I like to buy white because they change the colors that are trendy often.
It's true. If you pick a maroon today, it's not a maroon that's tomorrow.
Or even if you like teal, like the teal now is not the teal that you're going to get later.
Exactly.
And so I like to get just white because then I can always get white and it looks nice and clean your sewing room. And I print them out. And in my case, I will staple the directions. And then if there are any templates, I leave that free. And so
you use page. What are they? The page protectors?
So these are like page protectors. And I just have each pattern in its own thing. And you can see I made this one. And so I have the templates that I've already cut out in the back. So that way, if I want to get at it again,
Ah,
I can get at it. So this one is all dresses and shirts, and they're just organized and ready to go whenever I want them. And then we get into our bitty babies.
I'm much
And
more
I
haphazard.
so what I like to do is I like to keep the like patterns together. So these are all our bitty baby patterns. Is this entire bin
This
it
is
looks
just to
like.
say, if you're not this organized and you want to be, this is a great idea. But if
This
you're
is an
not this
idea.
organized and you're like, woof, that's a little much,
This is
it's
this is
also
what
okay.
this is what Stephanie did when Quilt Addicts Anonymous shut down, and she was like, "What am I going to do with myself?" Well, we're going to organize and print out every single doll clothes pattern that you bought haphazardly and never made over the course of the year. And
We're going to make
this was
ourselves office supply
yeah.
opportunities. And
So, yeah.
my PDF patterns, and I think we're going to pull up digitally. I generally keep digitally. If I print them, I have a double-sided printer. I'm pretty sure yours prints double-sided too,
Oh
because
yeah.
yours uses toner, so it would be
Mine
fancy
does
enough.
all the things.
If you go down to your file print and you go to numbers of items per page, you can choose it as a booklet on my particular printer. So I'm able to print it out so that it prints. Here's a pattern that I printed out like that as a booklet. So I'm able to print it out as a normal book, like this would be the back page, this would be the front page, and then all the other pages are in line the way that they're supposed to be. This is actually a bad example because it's not perfect, but anything you print out like a booklet will print out in the right order so that when you fold it, it's a booklet. And then I just put it in with my other patterns. And I try not to separate them out too much because I found that trying to be too fussy about the organizational system of it instead of just sticking them with their like items means that I spend more time looking for it. If I'm looking for something, I know what I'm looking for. I'm not, you have
Whereas
enough
I'm
doll
like,
patterns
oh, I have
that it's
way too
worth
many.
having a separate binder for doll patterns.
Oh,
I am at
it's
the
not
point where
just
I
a
have enough.
separate binder. That is, I have got a whole shelf, is
Yeah,
what I have.
yeah.
Ah,
I have enough bag patterns at this point that I should probably, when I go through organizing patterns again, I should probably separate my quilt patterns from my bag patterns. But up until about a year ago, I wouldn't say I had so many in any category that it was not going to make a difference if I was just
mhm.
filtering through.
Like I have one of those kitchen storage bins of just bag patterns too. And it depends on how much you have, does it need its own
Yes.
thing or can they all kind of get lumped together?
I've been reading KonMari again because I'm trying to downsize in my house. And I like a nonfiction book because I find them very funny because it's like, oh, like that's possible. Ha ha. That's a terrible sense of humor that I have. And so while listening to that, though, you do pick up pieces of wisdom. Like she doesn't encourage the idea of filing further than you really need to. You file warranties together, but you don't separate like kitchen warranties from garage warranties. You just kind of put them together. And so that's kind of what I stuck with, and it's been working
Mhm.
for me. But everybody's going to have a different point at which something is findable.
Yeah. And for me, I really love a good alphabetized and numbered situation. And so that's why I will organize all my Vogue patterns by number. And
That's fair.
because
Whereas
that
I'm more
just makes me
likely to put
happy.
yes, and that is what is important in it. For
Yeah.
me, I was able to find the pattern. It wasn't a vintage pattern. Was it a quilt pattern or was it a bag pattern? And that's enough for me. So you have to kind of figure out what your pain points are
Hmm.
to be able to determine what it is that you feel is worthy of organizing. Now, if I had unlimited time, I would also have everything organized by like number, letter, color, whatever it is. But I haven't found it worthy for my patterns, at least at this point. Now, you have 150 patterns of your own.
I do.
So
So
you've
we're
had to
not
figure
going to
out a
show
digital
that.
way.
We're not going to share that. I'm going to share how I do my doll clothes because there's a
That's
lot of
totally
those
fine.
too. Um, if we looked at the Quilt Addicts Anonymous Dropbox, I have over 1 terabyte of data in there
It's
between
crazy.
all the videos and everything. And I worked before this in an agency world where we would have multiple clients with multiple projects and multiple people working on different aspects. So we all had to work from a shared server where it made everyone knew where to find things. So when I was setting up my Dropbox for Quilt Addicts Anonymous, I kind of set it up the same way because I knew that I might not. First, I knew I needed to be able to find things, and then other people eventually also needed to be able to find where things were.
Right. Other people
So,
needed to understand your system.
exactly. So, because if it's not repeatable, then it's not really a system. It's just your own chaos that works for you.
That's my house.
I mean, we all have those moments. So this is what I do for my doll clothes patterns, and this is not how I started. When I started, there was a doll clothes folder, and once I bought entirely too many of them, I realized that if I was going to really utilize them, I needed it saved in a way that made sense for me. So, for example, this is a course that I purchased. And so everything that's within this course is within this folder. So all of my lessons that I can watch, plus all of my PDFs and course materials. And this is also all printed out in a binder, but I also have it digitally if anything happens to the binder. Same with this. This is a course that I purchased. And then we get into the patterns. And
Oh,
so
wow.
this is a lot. And again, didn't start out with this level of organization. This came over time when I ended up with
Right.
so many of them, I couldn't find what I needed.
And
So
that's
I,
how I feel about my filing system in general. Like what I was saying, for now, it feels fine to search through them as they are, but I'm getting to the point where bags different than quilts seems important. And you got to the point where accessories versus ballet versus Bitty Baby versus
exactly.
Build-A-Bear was important. So you can build on these in time. You don't have to worry about
And you can go even
having so
further
much.
down. We've got accessories, but then I've broken it
Mm-hmm.
down further. Is there only one apron in it? Yeah, that's fine. Only one dress form. But hey, we got 3 hats and God knows how many shoes. Have I ever made a doll clothes shoes? No, but I aspire to someday. Um, swim shoots. We're a big ballet family, so all the ballet
Oh, wow.
patterns are in there. And Bitty Baby, obviously a lot of those. Bitty Baby
Oh,
is a
wow,
15-inch doll.
girl.
I know, right? This is when I was making stuff for Lily. Um, and coats,
My kids are all about the Bitty Baby.
costumes. It's got all the things. Dresses. Okay, so this is another one that has
Mm.
multiple options. We have our dress only, our dress and top, dress and skirt, dress top and pants, girl and doll, big deal, because then you can make it for the girl too. And I also have my
Right.
patterns, separated by that too. Um, but this just made sense for me, and it got to the point where I just had so many that I needed to do it.
I can
Um,
tell.
so, like, here we go, top and bottom. So this is a whole outfit I could put together versus top only, and
This is a
s-
gold mine.
I know you have access to this. I've sent it to you many
I
times before,
know. I
Chantel.
didn't realize.
I've spent so much money on this crap and then never done anything with it. It's ridiculous.
I mean, my dolls over here are like, hey,
They need some clothes, man.
I know. They're like, I feel naked.
Chantel and I wanted to do a doll clothes book. We were trying to
I
convince
think we need to pivot that
so
way eventually.
this is Pattern Academy, which I paid for this class too. This is how to design your own patterns with doll clothes. So someday, maybe when we're old, we'll have time for these things. But
When we don't have children that appreciate the patterns that
we'll
we've
be
now put
making it for
together,
the
we'll be
grandbabies at that
we'll be
point.
making it for us at this point. We have no
Maybe.
shame.
We literally bought so much fabric on our transatlantic cruise with the idea of
We
doing the doll
had
clothes.
we
And the
had the
trims,
daydream.
oh my gosh, all the trims. I have so many trims. Um, I also store my trims on that comic book board too. I cut
Oh,
it
do
to
you?
size. Yep, to
Do you
fit
have one
in.
of those to show?
I can get a thing.
Because I'd like to see that. My trims are still a little haphazard. If you haven't noticed, I'm just a little more haphazard than Stephanie in general. So she's going to be a little more pulled together. I'm probably
Well,
more, you know.
I also remember had a couple of months where I had no idea what I was doing with myself and I was organizing the space. So that's
I
part of the
mean,
reason.
that's fair, but I also just know that I'm happier with things being a little more chaotic. Like, that's fine with
So
me. Oh,
there's
that's
one.
beautiful.
So this is from the bathroom section. This is also Bright Room for Target. I have these actually in my bathroom vanity, and they're great. We are not an organized family when it comes to general household drawers, but my kids know where their hairbrush is supposed to go. Does it make it back there? No. There are many mornings where
No,
we
no.
cannot locate a single hairbrush, but it has a home and they know where it's supposed to be. So, like in this case, I've got it, all my ribbons in here because I went nuts buying a bunch of ribbons. Um, Pixie Fairy is a great place to get doll clothes supplies. So I just have
Oh,
prepackaged ones in here. But I also have these. Some of them obviously are not put together great.
they're
And it's
just,
just,
I
yeah.
understand though.
But there's also these. So this is just a,
Half of one?
there's two on this one.
But I
So
mean, is
this,
that half a comic book
I
board
just cut
or?
it so that it would fit right in here. Like
Hey,
it's the same width and just a little shorter.
I
And
mean, you're never limited to
no.
what you have when it comes to that kind of stuff. You can cut them. They seem like,
So I essentially took, I mean, they're wrapped around a similar material in
yeah,
these packages, and I made my own. And then it just slides in there and it looks cute.
and you
You
can see
can,
everything you have.
this one I like cut a little like notch in there so that it
Oh
would
yeah, it's
stay.
just like you would with embroidery thread.
Same on this one. It's stuck in there. You can kind of see it.
Yes.
And
Look
so
at how small
anything,
those are, everybody, though.
they are
That is
super
why that
tiny.
is like doll dress worthy, because
Exactly.
the fact is that when you make a doll dress and you put regular Rick Rack on it or whatever, it looks funny because it's not the
Yeah.
right scale. You got to get the mini trims for the mini dresses.
And then I have all of my colored elastics for the hook and loops. The
Nice.
doll size elastic. Like this is just basically
It could be wrapped around a comic book board.
it could be. I just didn't
It
get
could.
that far. This is just
But
an extra
that's
trim.
also okay. I mean,
That
I
doesn't
feel
actually
like
go with
that's the
anything.
point of my sewing room. I just didn't get that far.
I mean, I have many moments where it's like, well, I didn't get that far.
I
But
didn't get that far.
but yeah, I mean, there are many of these things all over the place. But it
So
works.
there's many ways essentially to organize your space. I hope these gave you at least a few ideas for what you can do. What is that?
These are soles for doll clothes shoes that you can purchase from Pixie Fairy. They're pre-cut for you, so you don't have to do it yourself. It's like
Oh
made
my
from chipboard.
goodness.
Proof that I have intentions of making shoes someday, Chantel.
You're going to be a shoemaker.
Haven't gotten that far.
At our family farm, we actually have a shoemaking machine, like a shoemaking sewing machine.
This sounds interesting.
Yeah, I know. I have no idea how to use it, but Uncle Jimmy said that I'm welcome to come and figure it out. And I'm like, I don't think I'm a cobbler. I'm short, but I don't think I'm like, I'm not one of those leprechauns living in a tree. I don't think I could have, just make shoes.
Lily asked me if leprechauns were real, and I was like, no, honey, they're not. She's like, I knew it. It was the funniest reaction. I was like, oh, you're hilarious. But
you're like, well, I mean, they're as real as you want them to be, but like, no.
You're welcome, Michelle. I hope that these ideas came to you. And like, this did not happen overnight. These were like, systems that were developed over months and years, and it's just a mess.
Trial and error, and a lot of error.
Suzanne wants to know if we finished our sewing rooms, and no, life happened. Chantel traveled a lot in February. I was sick more days than I was well. So we haven't gotten that much further, which is why today we just kind of gave you some ideas of how to
in case you're actually on top of it.
Exactly. We're not. But if basically, we're not here like get your whole house clean. I mean, that's not us because we can't
No.
manage that ourselves in our own lives.
I don't think we can manage that with a clear schedule and a sunny day
No,
if we
because
had it
I
in front of us.
would rather be at a coffee shop on my computer than
I
organizing
know.
things
I
in my
have,
sewing
I
room.
mean, I'm always doing a quilt test or some other thing that I would much rather be doing than organizing my space. But organizing your space does mean that it's easier to work in your space.
That is true.
And some of it does cause happiness. Like you have your quilts all folded a certain way. How do you make sure that your quilts are folded the right size?
I have a video on how I do it. And essentially, I know that this fits 11 inches in the depth and 31 inches wide.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I'm folding, I fold it usually in half first. And then I fold it in, the sides
Okay.
in, so that it hits 31 inches wide. And then I fold it in
Kind of
until it
flop
hits
it over
11
itself.
inches. Yeah. And there's a method to the madness because, it takes up space as you have the folds in there.
Right.
So you don't want to hit it exactly at 11, especially if you have like a really big one like these two.
It's not
There's
unlike doing a scant seam so that you have
like,
a little
for
bit more room.
example, I don't know how to display my YouTube thing because these all stick out too far, and every time I put it up, it falls
Oh,
down. So I I've hit 100,000 and then some, but you can't tell because I don't know how to hang it behind me.
there has to be some type of command strip to make this work, but
I mean, I've tried. It's like a
hang
fuzzy
it from the
back.
ceiling. It can just twist around while you're.
It'll be like
That's a thing.
like it belongs on a horror movie or something. But
I mean, it would be distracting to say the
just a
least.
little, just a little.
Not a
But
touch.
I mean,
You could
I
just hold that
could.
up for no purpose in the middle of every live that we have. You're like, oh, and
I
so
should. I
Vanna
did a
it.
thing. I did a thing.
It's right here.
I do think I'm going to be paring down my yarn stash somewhat because I bought a bunch of Juicy Couture yarn, which was really
Mm,
thick, but I knitted something with it and it pulls too easy because it's so slippery.
yeah.
And so I don't want to spend all the time knitting with something to have it look like a hot mess the first time it gets snagged on something.
Oh yeah.
So, but my sister makes these amigurumi things where it's
What's
like
it? Oh,
much
that little
tighter,
creature
like
thing.
the stuffed animals. And so I think I'm just when I see her this week, I think I'm just going to give her a bunch. Let my daughter wants to learn to crochet. So I told her we could get her the right size hook and she could do a pillow out of one of them, but I'm just going
I'm
to give the
pretty
rest to
sure
my
I have the
sister.
right size hook. I have a lot of
You
crochet
might.
hooks, which is funny because I thought I would be a crocheter, but then I found English paper piecing, so that was
They call them
never had any
hookers.
hope. Hookers.
Yeah, you're going to be a hooker.
Yeah. I'm gonna be a hooker. What am I now? I'm a piecer,
Yes.
an English piecer.
Yeah.
Not as
Something.
fancy as a hooker.
No, not as much.
Not as much.
Oh goodness, we've hit that point of the evening apparently.
It's not that bad. It's only
It's
been an
not.
hour and 13 minutes and 7 seconds because we actually have a thing that counts down for us now how
We
long it's
do.
been.
Oh goodness, it's wild. I do like this new software. I kind of
It has
it's
a good
fun.
feel to it. What is everybody thinking? We changed the software in case you weren't here. And
Is
so
anyone like, can you notice? Like, is the viewer experience any different for you guys? I might have to go visit
who
Lenny
knows?
here. I'm just telling you right now. But
We can always take a break.
yeah.
Or we,
I am definitely gonna need space for more quilts though, because I'm gonna be making
Yeah, what are you gonna
at
do?
least 3 more. I'm definitely gonna make where is it? I think you can see it. This one
You're
again.
gonna have to bind some things.
No, you can buy my quilts.
I'll bind
You
them.
can have at it.
Brittany and I basically volunteered ourselves today, and we're like, yeah, if Stephanie allowed it. I offered you once that every time I stay over, I will bind a quilt so I can sleep in it.
There you go. I don't know that you want to stay over. I'm
That's
trying
true.
to get my children to clean their half of the basement. We'll see about
Good luck.
that. I think we've outgrown the kitchen set. So that I think is going to go
Well, that's
somewhere.
sad.
I mean, a little, but also
Like,
good
but also
because
good, right? It's a
I'll
big
get
thing.
like a whole wall back. So I want to move that to a different area of the basement, and then um and like save it for the grandkids someday because what half of it was mine when I was little. So
Oh,
we're not getting rid of that.
you can
That's
take that
gonna
back to your
stay.
parents' house then. That
Oh,
seems like that kind of thing.
they will not allow that. That is definitely not gonna happen. Um,
Nice
so
try.
that's gonna stay. But I want to put I have we have shorter versions of these shelves that used to be at the shop, and I want to put one that is exclusively going to be Barbie because the Barbie situation is out of control.
I don't
And
know how to fix that either. I have my own personal Barbie out of control situation. It's
yes,
my Barbie out of control situation. It's not even my kids.
oh, mine
Still
is
haven't figured it out.
100% Lily, out of control. And she needs a shelf for it, and then her Barbie situation needs to be confined to the rest of the wall where the kitchen set used to be, and then maybe I will be able to walk from the basement stairs to here without stepping on Barbie shoes, which is about as pleasant as stepping on Lego.
Oh,
And
don't you
it'll be
compare to
great.
my lifestyle. No, I'm kidding. My son is a Lego fanatic. We
I'm gonna let
have
you take over for a minute,
more.
and I'm
Yeah, that's
gonna
fine.
leave
I'm going to
my
talk about
headphones
Legos
here.
and then
You go for it.
that's fine. My son is a Lego fanatic, and so if you want to hurt yourself, come walk in my house for a little bit, because you will step on a Lego and it will hurt very badly. Um, he's a good kid and he means well, but it's not just his problem. Like, I have Legos, his sisters have Legos, dad has Legos, like everybody has some Legos. Let's talk a little bit more about organizing, something that I had. If you're a foundation paper piecer, which I'm not a big foundation paper piecer, but something that I was taught by other teachers is that a good tool for foundation paper piecing is like one of these expandable files. So you just open it up and it has all the little folders in it or whatever. Well, as you work through your project and you have certain colors that you're going to be using, you can put your scraps into them. You can take your pieces of pattern as you go and keep them alphabetical. I really like this for the fact that I have pieces cut out and they're all sort of in order. So this is like A, C, and then I'm going to get to my S's and things like that. They're all in order. So as I go through, it's not that hard to find what I'm looking for. And completed pieces can also be kept in here. I do have a few completed pieces. Again, I'm not much of a foundation paper piecer, but I have all my completed pieces that can fit in this. I like to display my pieces as I go. So I have completed part of this particular piece. I don't know if you've heard of Veruska. She's the one, she won QuiltCon the not this last one, but the one before that. So she made a piece. She's Pride and Joy Quilting. And so she made this piece, and I've been working on that for a while. So there's a million ways to organize what you have. And for me, being able to keep it in one container is generally helpful. Stephanie is better about what her containers are. I'm like, it's a baggie. Throw your stuff in it. It'll be fine. She's a little better about like, use this kind of bin, use that kind of bin. But you don't have to be that organized. What did I can find the Legos to one place, Suzanne says. That's funny. I'm trying, but I mean, we have an excessive, like, we have an account with Lego to this point where we are getting to the point where the big expensive Legos come out and they're like, oh, just so you know, member, your new expensive fancy Lego is coming out. And then my son becomes a really well-behaved child for like 2 weeks so that he can get his new fancy Lego. I don't blame him. They're really, really fun. It's like he actually created me some quilting things. Stephanie, where are you? She cracks me up. If you didn't know, the Lenny is code for the bathroom. So these are things that my son made me out of Lego for quilt ideas. Which I actually thought this was like really, really cool. It'd make a really great quilt idea. But Lego. You can do it all. What is everybody working on tonight? We haven't even asked you what you're working on.
I am back, but my tummy is a little upset.
Okay, so
we
I
might need
talked
to call it
about
a day.
I talked about organizing foundation paper piecing a little bit. And then we kind of got back to working on Lego things like that. And so I showed them, this is stuff that my son has made for me as prototypes for possible quilts.
That's cool.
It's all Lego.
That's very cool. Is that like the dots ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen those.
So, I mean, you can see your drunkard's paths there doing their thing. And I was like, this is actually really cool.
Good job, like mirroring everything.
I know. And the colors are even pretty good too.
Yeah.
There's a few pieces missing, but you get the idea, the idea of what it is. I thought that was pretty cool. And the kids have a lot of fun, like, hey, Mom, can you make this? And I'm like, well, technically.
Do what?
And I showed them my foundation paper piecing, how I use a expandable file.
Okay.
So I have a big foundation paper piecing project that I've been working on. I had the hopes of finishing it before the end of the year last year, but it didn't happen. So this is quite large. I'd say it's about 36 by 36, probably, if I had to guess. And so I keep all the cut pieces separated by section, kind of in order. But because it has the different sections, I'm able to drop them in. And as I finish the smaller sections, I'm trying not to lose my page as I do that. I'm able to drop them into the file folder. And then when I'm done with this project, you can just use it for the next big foundation paper piecing project. Smaller projects don't need that. But
a lot of times what I use is I just use sandwich bags to kind of keep stuff together if it'll fit. Or, bigger bags. I have a bunch.
I love sandwich baggies. That's like my go-to.
I mean, that's
or your baggies.
Bunny. That doesn't count as your budget. That's grocery bunny.
No. That's not quilting. That is pantry.
And you don't need to get like the good stuff. You can go to the dollar store and pick that kind of stuff up because it's not like it needs to hold baggies. Things.
If you go to the shower section where they have like the back scrubbers and things like that, if you go to that section of the Dollar Tree, they have these baggies that are for organizing that are like 5-gallon bags. They're like extra large baggies or whatever. They make great project bags. They're really big. I had Brittany helping me with one of them today. Oh my gosh, I can't even pick this up. It's so heavy. Oh, all my Halloween fabric.
Oh gosh.
This is one of those baggies. It's 2 for $1.25. It used to be 2 for $1.
Yeah, that is the thing. The dollar store isn't really the dollar store, is it?
No.
That's what
somebody told me that an opportunity was missed. They could have been Tree Fitty. You heard it first here.
Millennials will understand.
Could have been Tree Fitty. Everything could have been Tree Fitty, but they decided to go for $1.25. You do you. But
well, there's time. Inflation isn't done yet.
Eventually, it will be the Tree Fitty store.
We need to go. Like the next time we're in person, we need to go to the dollar store, and we need to figure out what can work as quilt supplies or organization.
Oh, you need to go to the Harbor Freight and figure out what is a tool for quilting.
We have a series. I think we have a series here.
Oh yeah, don't give the idea to anybody else. This is for us to do. But yeah, we need to do some shopping in offbeat stores because they have things that are
magnetic things that are meant for screws, pins.
They're amazing. I have a glasses kit that's magnetic not magnetic. What am I saying? Magnifying.
Little screws, yeah.
Yeah. And then it has a little light on it, and I use it for my tiny English paper piecing because it's literally like for working with tiny things. It works great. I look hilarious with it on, but
We
I think
need
it
to
was like
have like a
$12.
budget. We need to like $100 Harbor Freight. How
$100 at a
much?
Dollar Tree, $100
Oh
no,
no,
$100 at
no,
a Dollar Tree. You know,
no,
you
no,
need
no.
$25.
Yeah,
$100 at Harbor Freight.
there you go.
Yeah, a Dollar
could
Tree.
be-
That would be ridiculous.
We
You'd be
have
like,
to
I
do
bought
this now.
deodorant for 7 families.
I just want to show. I just saw this and I feel like I need to show it. So I also have tiny buttons for doll clothes.
Those are so adorable.
Look it. They all fit on like my finger.
They're so
cute.
tiny.
I know, those are the tiniest ones I have. But I also have little tinier ones that are smaller too.
I
But-
have vintage buttons. And it turns out, if you didn't know this is worth noting, a lot of vintage buttons have a lead content. So they are not good for use on children any longer because they have enough lead content that it could actually encourage
Cause
and
problems.
increase. Yeah. That
Yes.
it's like a
We
problem.
want our children to be smart. We don't want them to have lead poisoning to damage
I mean,
them.
as long as they're not chewing on the buttons, I see no problem. But you can't guarantee that a kid is not like
my child. Yes.
I know, right? Like somebody told me once when I was doing the lead testing or whatever, and they're like, "Does anybody live in a home from 1982 and earlier or something like that?" And I'm like, "Well, their grandparents do." And they're like, "Well, that really shouldn't be a problem unless they're chewing on the woodwork." And I'm like, "They're not a hedgehog. Like they're not chewing on the woodwork." Like,
Okay, you would be surprised. We had our crib from my sister-in-law, and there were chew marks all along the railing from my nephew.
oh
Like,
God,
he would just be
there we
in
go.
there, like gnawing at it, just
This makes a
stomping
lot
away.
of sense now. No,
My children were out of the crib by the time they had teeth, but apparently, little Owen was a very hungry child.
hungry.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I mean, yeah, you don't want to deal with that, but
Michelle says there's clamps for the quilt table, magnetic hooks and shells, many items.
oh yeah,
The
Harbor
cutting
Freight's got the
table
gift.
that we used, that's in my garage now, it was a big utility table that was meant for like warehouses. So
Mine's
and, like,
supposed to
shops and
like
stuff.
my cutting table is from a restaurant and web supply type
Store.
place. And
They're
it's
really
considered to
sturdy.
be like a school,
Yeah.
I don't know, like a commercial school topped table. So it's what they would use in their science classes. And I had the option of even putting that slate tabletop on the top for, chemical resistance. And I just did the standard laminate, white laminate.
Yeah.
But that thing is so strong, it does not move at all. I can
Yeah.
put my Bernina on that and put pedal to the metal, and it is not moving.
They're sturdy, they're durable. I mean, they're countertop
But
height.
it's not the real purpose. You could
Yeah.
have 10 YouTube videos about things that aren't used for their purpose that we use in sewing
Oh yeah, for sure.
that you wouldn't think about. I mean, even if you have just a 2x4 that's cut to the size, that's a clapper.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. If you want to get those seams nice and tight and really, really flat, I have a
seen
really nice
people
clapper, but you can
use
use a piece of wood.
railings that they've cut because then it looks a little pretty.
There you go. I mean,
As long as it's unfinished.
This beautiful clapper. I love this clapper. And it's square for blocks or whatever, and it has this nice, I mean, it's beautiful. But it's really not that different from a block of wood with a handle on it.
Yeah.
I mean, put a hardware handle on a piece of wood and...
All right. Well, you and I have a shopping date now.
Oh, it's going to happen.
We're going to do
We
this.
need to, because there's so many good things. And my husband's obsessed with Harbor Freight. So I feel like I
don't think I've ever been in one. I know we have one right by me, but I don't think I've ever been in one. Chantel's mind was just blown.
No, but seriously, it is the funnest. It's like everything at Menards compressed to just the best stuff.
And cheap.
Without all the extra, like, appliance hardware crap that you don't need. Like, it's not a lot of extra screws and things like that like you would find at Ace. It's the tools.
Hmm.
It's very fun.
Very fun.
And
We gotta go.
everything comes with a coupon. Man couponing.
Are men aware of what coupons are?
Yes, they are when it's Harbor Freight.
Okay, well, good to know.
Those coupons, yeah, no, I'm serious. John will be like, but there's a coupon. Be like, oh, so now you have to do it.
Michelle says every time she goes to Staples, she buys $2 or $3 pencil cases or zipper bags for quilting items.
Oh, I love doing that.
Yeah.
I use my hand sewing kit is actually a pencil case that has a little roller skate on it. You've seen it a million times.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
hot pink with a roller skate on the front of it. It was a pencil case from Walmart. I got it on clearance.
It all works.
It works great because the vinyl is like strong enough that my needles don't poke through it. Like if I made a quilted
Mhm.
case for it, I think my needles would poke through it, but that vinyl is really strong.
Once I had needles like go wild in a laptop case that was fabric, and like I just had to throw it out because I just kept stabbing myself. There was no getting them all out after that. It was bad. And I liked it. It was like teal, and before
It was teal,
everything was
I know.
teal.
I was gonna
But
say
this
that's
is
step
like a
one.
decade ago before teal was like popular again. So
I mean, I have a pink problem, you have a teal problem.
it's all good. When
I
I
don't
was
even think of
picking
it as problem.
fabrics,
I was
I made
talking,
sure to have
look
a
at how
hot.
much teal I have. I was
I
talking
know.
to Brittany today and I'm like, girl, I need to get rid of some stuff. She's like, what about that teal for Stephanie? And he's like, it's probably a
Stephanie
good
does
start.
not
Look
need
at the
more
pink
fabric.
row though.
No, when I was choosing fabric today, I made sure that I had at least half of it be hot.
Thank you.
So
I was,
keeping you in mind as I
oh,
was
you're
doing that.
thinking about me.
I
Well, you're all
was.
big and famous and all this stuff.
I mean,
So fancy.
I suppose. I did get recognized in Liberty. That was wild.
You did. No, you're a big deal. You're a big
Sometimes.
deal, but you thought about how I like hate when there's not a good balance of like hot versus cold though.
Oh, there's a balance.
Is there a lot of color stories that like kind of commute between?
Yes.
I wish you could show us.
And also no, because it's not like I got to pick entirely how it got put together.
Okay.
Like I put out color combinations, but then they also just went wild with stuff. And so some things just worked better together than others, and it may not have been what I originally suggested. But it works as a whole.
Right.
And like I had to pull it into 2 different colorways, which, it's fine. But I think as a whole, it looks really nice as a collection. Like it's a really
That's
nice
good.
transitional color story. And I only picked, I think it's 4 fabrics that have a white background. So that way you're not dealing with
That's a good proportion.
with a ton of lights. Out of 21, there's like 4, a ton of lights versus, you know, it's just really hard to make it work from a fabric designer standpoint, um, or a pattern design standpoint when you have a whole bunch of lights and then
That's
an
true.
equal amount of medium and equal amount of dark. That's hard to work with unless you're really deliberately placing items. And so I wanted to make sure that that was not going to be a problem.
So tell us more about
mine.
why that is the case. So is it because you tend to use your lighter items as your background? Or
Yes. So, like for example, in traditional screen printing, the cost and what makes it expensive is actually designing the screens, and each color gets its own screen. So that's why
I'm
you'll
looking
have
for
like
one
a
here.
hero print. Oh, I need to plug in my headphones. They're unhappy with me. 1 second.
And of course, I can't find a fabric that has the dot. Oh, here we go.
But you'll have like a hero print that has a whole bunch of different, yeah, you can see them there. So that one has 5 different colors in it.
5 or 6 or something like that. And it's not much different, but it's
every single color has its own screen. And so that's why you see the same print repeated over 3 to 4 colorways in a traditional line, because they need to get the bang for their buck out of that. Now, what that typically means is you end up with an equal amount of light fabrics, an equal amount of medium fabrics, and an equal amount of dark fabrics. And if
And your
you
job
have,
used to be to determine
yeah,
to
how to
make a
make those
quilt.
work. So let's say we have 18 fabrics in a collection, and 6 of those are all white backgrounds. And you also want to use a white background for your quilt. Well, that means one of those fabrics is going to be your background. 5 of them need to not be next to that white background, or you're going to
Mm-hmm.
lose it. And all the beautiful piecing you did is lost. You cannot see it. So you have to be super deliberate about where you put that, usually right smack
Right.
dab in the middle of your quilt block so it's not touching any of your background, or not use them, which nobody wants to do. No one wants to leave fabrics out of their quilt. And so that's why I was really deliberate to make sure that we were only using a specific amount of light. And also, the one that I chose to really kind of be the background, which is not going to be available in the pre-cuts, specifically so you're not having to double up on that.
Okay,
Um,
fair.
so, like, there will be
You kind
20
of
different.
called it out, like,
I
as
did.
it
I was
is.
really
It's the
specific about it.
background.
So, like, there's 20 fabrics that are going to be available in the pre-cuts, and then the one extra to make 21 is not in there. So that way, if you get a strip roll, they call them roly-polies, you're not going to
Mm-hmm.
also then have 2 strips of
That background as
that
well.
background fabric, and then what do I do with this? I can't use it to make my pattern.
It's essentially
So,
your white,
yeah,
your background. It's called out separately so that when it's against those other colors, maybe there's still some
yeah. And that one
variance.
is a white and it is a green. Is that background. And then all the other ones that have white have multicolor in
Got
the
you. So
dye. So
they
that
read
way
a
they
little
stand
differently.
out. They do. And I still, when I make them, they are still going to be separated from the background for
Right.
anything that I design, but it just is going to make your job easier of being able to use stuff. And Suzanne, I think a lot of places are still doing the rotary screen print. And even if they're not doing the rotary screen print, they are at least still designing like it is rotary screen print. So, like, when I did,
Batiks are just made differently. It's a
yeah,
wax lane system. It's a sunning system.
hmm,
It's very old school in comparison to anything that would be screen printed
when I
or
did my
digitally
last
printed.
collection in like 2020 was when I was designing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was digitally printed, but it was designed like a traditional screen print where
Oh, I didn't know that.
we had multiple of the same design in multiple colors. And so, it has taken out a lot of the limitations, but you're still limited by your imagination and how creative you get. And when people are used to doing things a certain way for a really long time, it's hard to get them to change and be
Right.
like,
So to
I
have
can do
every print
whatever I
be
want.
different,
Yeah.
every print being different would be a little overwhelming, honestly, because you don't have the cohesiveness
Yeah,
to kind of land on.
for sure.
That makes sense.
So I mean, there's a lot of really cool things you can do
But
with it. Like,
Batiks, I mean, we're gonna have Reba on at some point just to
at
talk
some
about
point.
a little bit. I mean, give everybody a taste because she's going to be on a cruise with us in the future, so that you can kind of get the whole Batiks
Absolutely.
understanding. But Batiks are just a different animal. It's essentially they lay out color, they put on wax,
Then they
they
bleach
remove
it.
color.
And anything that's underneath the wax stays.
Mm-hmm.
And then they dye it again. And then they remove the wax. And then you get it there. And then the one thing
And you
that
get it
I
from the
did,
sun. It's not just baked in an oven or something
yeah.
like that. They literally lay these fabrics out. It's a very, very natural process, really.
And like my collection was like me getting my strike offs was delayed by like a month because they didn't have enough sun to do it, which is wild to think about. Um,
And that's what I mean. You can see on that
it's just how it
cruise is
is.
that
But and then the other thing that I did that you don't typically see in batik is I really wanted my background to look solid. So for the most part, I did not choose the strike offs that had movement in the background because
Mm.
sometimes you get it and it looks kind of like you've painted with watercolor. And
They do. They have this
yeah,
pebbly kind of look to them.
so I chose the ones that were really as close to what you would get with a solid as possible um, when I was picking mine. So that made it really actually easy to narrow down because it's like, okay, so I like these, but this one looks more traditional and
Yeah, it
this
almost
one
looks
looks more,
tie-dyed
yeah.
versus just having a solid color like you would have with something that was digitally printed or something that was screen printed.
I will tell you, this is hilarious. So I had started to design something and then I abandoned it, but I left it in the folder. And when I sent it in, I sent them a Dropbox link, but I also sent them the actual files. They
Oh.
they created a chop of the design I abandoned, and it actually looks really good.
Oh my gosh, for
And
real?
so yeah, so like this design that I was thought was crap and I stopped messing with, it there's gonna be two of them in the collection. And it was just a mistake.
I
So
tell
it
you
was just
that stuff that I'm sketching every day, I need to
it's a happy accident.
send out and things like that because there are some really cool things that can happen by accident when
Yeah.
you're just sketching and drawing.
So I filmed myself like opening the box and seeing it for the
So
first
today
time.
was the official
Yeah,
opening of the box video,
it
yeah?
was. Reba was very concerned. She knew I hadn't opened the box yet. She's like, normally our designers have more time with it, and do you want to do this Monday instead? And I was like, you don't understand. I'm fine. And like I am when I
I'm a
used to
different
buy
animal.
fabric, like my reps were always like floored with how quickly I would make decisions because it's either a yes or it's a no. There are like very, very few maybes
Maybes are kind of a
because
not
I
happening.
either love it or it's not for me when I'm looking at stuff. So they would like go to some shops, spend all day there to get $1,000 order, and I would plow through $100,000 worth of orders in like an hour or two. And
You're like, I don't have time for this. We're going to just do the thing. I feel this. I
I'm like,
don't feel
I
that. I
like it
feel
or
this. I
not.
don't feel
And
that.
I would have a list of what was coming in different months, and I would be like, here's where my stash and hole is, and I knew what was coming from there, and I had a spreadsheet. And
I'd love to learn more about that. I think everybody would like to learn more about how you figured out what the heck you were doing when you were doing sashing. I mean,
math.
that was a lot of juggling.
So
You had a lot of balls in the air while you were actually moving things around.
I am. This is probably will
Insane.
not surprise anybody because of the fact that I can both design a quilt and do all the quilt math for it. But I can calculate return on investment and growth like to the penny. So I had a spreadsheet that had every single month of what we sold based on categories of like pre-cut, yardage, stashin. And I knew how much growth we were having every month in
Mm-hmm.
terms of stashin, and I knew how much yardage we needed to have in order to make that happen. And it was just all formulas within Excel. And
I
so,
love formulas. And we've
yep,
talked about this recently too, about how we'd rather work in Excel
yeah,
any day than work in PowerPoint because
yeah,
PowerPoint doesn't tell you when the end is, but Excel, I
yeah.
mean, you can
So
always, it's all math.
I knew like Quilt Addicts Anonymous had grown X amount of percent year over year. And so then I would just put in that formula and it told me how much I was able to order in different amounts. And then I was able to order that exact amount in that category. And when I hit that amount, then I knew I could not order any more or I was going to be in trouble because you can always order more.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you sell more than you think it is, you might not be able to get exactly what you want, but you're ordering fabric like 9 months ahead of when it is. So
That was the crazy part.
you have to kind of know where you're going to be. And then if we would have a month where like Stash would go bananas, I would immediately be calling and saying, hey, I need to up the order. Are we able to do it? And the worst part of it was during the pandemic because things would get really delayed
Sure.
because of overseas shipping just coming to a halt. And then there was so much mass making for fabric that it put a lot of strain on some of the factories that also made fabric for quilt shops. And so I was in constant communication with logistics people just to say, hey, is this going to be here in time? And if not, do you have $16,000 worth of a collection I could replace it with?
Oh, that's true. I mean,
Yeah.
there was not a month you could say, you know, we don't have one this month. We have
No.
2 next month. There was a situation where
Yeah.
it was like we had to work month to month.
So
So
there were a
yeah.
couple of months where I ended up with fabric that I probably wouldn't have purchased otherwise, but we needed something to go, and I wanted to stick with the same fabric manufacturer, so it's not like I'm canceling a stick. Like at one point, it was like $20,000 worth of fabric that I was ordering every month
Oh my
just for
goodness.
stashing. It was insane. And not only did I need to know how much fabric I would need for the subscription club, I needed to know how much we would then upsell
For
for
kits.
kits and finishing kits and full kits and background fabric. So I knew I needed to be at about 3 to 4 yards for background fabric, or I was going to either have way too much or not enough. And there were times where, like early on in stashing, I think it was the grid work pattern, I could not get extra background fabric. I was limited to 1 yard for my background fabric that month. And that's how that quilt came to be because I needed to
Because
make
that's what
that
you
work.
had.
Yeah.
You're
Like
like, these are, I mean,
the
I love
design
doing a quilt
constraints.
test
Yeah.
because of the constraint. I like
Yeah.
being told, here's your pattern, do whatever you want, but do it within this constraint. And so your constraint was different. You're like,
It was.
here's a fabric line. This is what you get of what you have. Make a pattern, make it work.
Yeah. And a lot of times, I was flexible with what I could do for background. That was fine. That was not a big deal. But there were definite times where I was like, I have enough to do a yard. That's it. I need a yard of background fabric. I cannot do any more, and I have to make that work.
Oh my
And
gosh.
and if I can't, I can't. And so eventually we kind of, at first we would take whatever was in the collection and make it work. But eventually we got to a point where I knew I needed 15. And so if there weren't 15 in the collection, I'd be like, okay, what basics do we have that
15
we can
different
make it work?
fabrics or
Yeah,
15?
15 different fabrics. So that way we had an A bundle, a B bundle, and a C bundle. We knew what was in
Right.
each one. So
I
that
was always
way,
like B bundle.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know this.
It was based on where you were at in alphabetical
I was
order.
between A and B
Yeah.
because I'm an I.
Yeah.
But it was always I
So
was
some
always happy
people
to
would
be B
shift
bundle.
around. Some people would shift
Yep.
around a little bit, but
I always wanted
yeah,
to be
it
the
was
person
wild.
that's like this name to this name is, this bundle. I never got to be the person that was at
Well,
the
and
top of the bundle.
we knew exactly who got which bundle. So that way, if people came in and asked and they didn't know, we were able to tell them. Um, it was a major team
It's this
effort.
level of organization that's
Yeah.
going to take you right back up to the top.
Yeah, and that's why I have Dropbox folders that are organized the way they are, because that's how I had to be, because
I know you had to.
Like, if anybody is running a business, thinking about starting a business, you need to read the E-Myth Revisited.
Honestly, I need to write this down at this point because I've heard this 12 times.
I used to reread that book every single year. The author did his own narration, and it took me forever to get through it because he was not a very exciting narrator. But the concepts in there are great. And he has this example of somebody who opens a pie shop because they love to bake, and then they do everything but bake the damn pies. And they hire somebody, and they train them, and they're great, and then they leave, and then they're back to doing all the things themselves, and they can't get anybody to do the work the way it needs to be done. And the concept is that if you own your own business,
mm-hmm.
and it does not make money unless you are working, you don't own a business. You own the worst job in the world, and you work for the worst boss in the world, and that's yourself.
Say
And
that
so
one more time. I
if
feel like
you
that's
if you own a business that does
yes.
not make money unless you are physically working,
hmm
then you don't own a business. You are working in the worst job in the world for the worst boss in the world, and that's yourself.
Oof, that
So
hurts.
it does hurt.
You can
And
take
so,
that in a lot of ways too. I mean,
it
you can
is.
take that in home life, you can take that in work life, whatever it is. But essentially, if you can't train somebody to do what you do,
hmm So the process is that, and we never had. I mean, we had SOPs, standard operating procedures.
hmm
It's not like we had a giant manual of stuff, but everybody knew how to fold a fat quarter the exact same way. Everybody knew how to fold a kit the same way.
you had the most beautiful
Everybody knew
packages of fabric
exactly.
sent to me, and they were always folded the same, and they always fit in their bin, and they always had their sticker on the lower right hand side.
And I had
And
half a dozen people doing it the exact same way. And if they weren't capable of doing it the exact same way, like that's the only reason anybody ever got let go, is if they didn't have the attention to detail we needed to do stuff. And like I only had to let one person go because they weren't a quilter, they didn't understand getting stuff in the mail. And I modeled all that after Fat Quarter Shop because whenever I would get their stuff in the mail, it was pristine and gorgeous and
oh my
lovely. And
gosh,
I
your
like,
stuff
how
always,
did yeah,
you're the only person I bought stuff from that is still in its package and not put into a system, because
because
it
it
was
looks good.
folded so nice and put into its bags so nice that it lines up on my shelf perfectly. And it's not like A person put it in and then B person put it in and then C person did this. I could order things from your shop and pretty much guarantee that it was going to fit on my shelf the same
Yeah,
way. And I asked you
because
about that at one point. I was like, how? Do you
it's
have like Mary working overtime or something? And you're like, no, this
everybody
is very important
everybody
for
knew.
everybody to know.
Yep, everybody knew their thing. And like when we were doing this at the like 6 years ago in COVID, when everything was shutting
Mm-hmm.
down and we were doing this literally in my living room above my ceiling, um, I would film videos. This is how you do it. This is how you fold it. Because I would cut the half yards for the mass, and then I filmed the video of how, and they literally would just go in a bin, and we would drop it off on somebody's doorstep, and we would pick it up a day or so later, packaged and ready to go. And so we would just film videos on my iPhone. This is how we fold it, and this is how we package it, and we would get it back exactly as it was. And if you don't have the ability to deliver the same customer experience time after time after time, no matter who it is that's performing the
Right.
service, you are not going to have consistent customers because sometimes it's going to be awesome and sometimes it's going to be like, who the hell packaged this fabric?
Right. No,
It
I
is a
have some
hot mess
fabric that
already.
comes to me and it's like, it's more wrinkled than it could ever. We came off
Yeah.
that bolt and got abused.
Yeah. And so we were really specific about that. And, not everybody was as fast as I was, but eventually most people got there. Um, and I did my fair share of packing.
But that's not unlike
Probably,
what we're doing here.
yeah,
We're basically making our own systems
yeah.
to make sure that
But
we're consistent in our own space. Now, when you're at a work, I mean, obviously it means a lot more when you're in a working situation and you have multiple people trying to create the same thing,
yeah.
the same experience for a customer.
But if you're a manager, if you want to start your own business, even if it's just you right now, think about, how am I doing this? Can it be repeated? What is the most efficient way to do it? And what are the instructions for how to do it? Because if something happened and like your spouse needed to take over for a little bit because you were not feeling well,
Right.
would they be able to do that? Would they be able to perform it at the same results? Or say you finally hire somebody, they need to be able to do it as well as you can. Otherwise, you run the risk of looking at it and being like, oh, that is awful. I need to just redo this myself. Well, that's not helping you and it's not helping them. You need to be able
Right.
to train a person to do it as you would, so that way you can do the thing that grows the business.
It's
And
essentially learning how to delegate things appropriately, because we take
yeah,
so much responsibility ourselves for what's going on that actually being able to tell somebody how to do it how you would is kind of a lost skill.
And this works at home too. Like I remember
I'm thinking about my kids right now, as you say.
my
I'm like,
my mother-in-law made a not so great comment to my husband.
We're at that hour.
Right before we had moved into our first home. And I didn't know her very well at that point. We had been married for less than a year, and she was coming for the first time, and I needed my house to be like white glove test approved. And we had so many built-in shelves at the time. And I'm not a crier. A person or a dog has to die in order for me to cry.
It's pretty tough for Stephanie to cry.
It takes a lot. And so I am furiously cleaning my house, and my husband is trying to help, but his mother never taught him how to keep things clean. She just expected he would absorb it somehow, but never like explain
Osmosis.
anything. And he didn't. And so he's like, my mother taught me, when you dust, you take everything off, you dust, and then you put all the things back, and you dust the thing that you took
right
off.
And you try not to make the dust go up, so it just comes back down.
Exactly. And so he just kind of like, swishes around, and I just broke into tears right then and there in the living room. And I'm like 24 years old, and he looks at me and he goes, "Show me the right way." And like that was like the best reaction when you have a keeper, because he knew that like this was really important to me, and it
right
that's
and
it. It wouldn't have benefited me to be like, forget it, I'm just going to do it myself. But for him to say, show me the right way, you have to be able to do that in business.
It's very romantic,
as well.
Really.
It was. But
aww,
this is not how our laundry situation goes anymore. At this point, I'm just like, you're doing it. You are doing it, and I don't have to. So I am not going to complain about the way you do it, because it is happening. I will complain when it's not happening.
It's like I have no irons in the fire when it comes to how my laundry is coming out, because
I'm not doing it.
Sits in a basket for far too long for me to be able to say, oh, that's not right. No, it's like, it's done. Thank you.
He does the laundry. I try not to complain about the way he does the laundry unless I don't have any clean things of my own. And
that is pretty much, if I don't have any clean things on my own, then I know that's a me problem though at that point. But you know why that is. I just have too much stuff.
Yeah.
So if I don't have clean things, that's 100% my fault. But I really can't complain about him doing the laundry. He did the laundry.
Yeah. The other thing, lesson learned to take from that, is if you are thinking of doing a business, you have to think about how can it make money without you working every second of the day. And this is something I'm thinking about right now, because I don't have a team anymore. I have me. And so how can I utilize the content that already exists and do it in a way that is efficient and will make money without me necessarily having to ship something out. So we have 150 quilt patterns.
Like, what's your product?
Many of those are digital. So that already goes to your inbox. So it benefits me greatly if I am just going to ship something out to somebody's inbox and they buy a pattern, they see it, and I mean, it's not free. There's website hosting costs and email and all that.
Exchange of all of this stuff,
I don't physically have to do anything. It feels low. Or like, for example, I'm
low effort, mid effort, high effort. That's definitely on the low effort.
Yeah. I'm going to open up patterns to be sold through my website again, but I'm going to opt to mostly wholesale those paper patterns. I'm not going to sell to every single quilt shop individually, because it does not benefit me to put together pattern orders of 6 patterns. It benefits me to put together a couple $100 or $1,000 order patterns that are going to go to a distributor, and then they can handle the little, I just want 6 patterns of this. And so that's kind of how I think about stuff like that. So, what is worth my time to do and what is a better way to do it? So,
You're just wiser this time around. You're going to use the
basically,
tools that you have and, you know, the people that you have, which is minimal
yeah.
this
Well,
time
and
around.
that's why I'm not going to sell a million yardage things. If I do sell yardage, it's going to be as a bundle, and you're not going to be able, I mean, many quilt shops will be able to have this. You will be able to get yardage if you want a
They
bunch
will
of
be
stuff.
able to get their yardage.
Yes.
This is kind of separate. This is
But
like
if you're ordering
coming
from
from the
me,
source, a signed book.
yeah, if you're going to order from me, you're going to order something that is coming to me as a finished product. So that way I can take it out of its box, I can repackage it however it needs to go to ship out to you,
Mm-hmm.
and then it can come into my garage and it can go straight out my garage and it's not going to sit there
Right.
forever. So that is how it's going to work for me because I know that's something that I can handle, a
Mm-hmm.
couple times a year when fat because I actually just turned in my second collection too. Um, you know, a couple times a year I can manage that. We power through in a weekend, get Mary over and pay her
Right.
some cash under the table and we're good to go. But and then also the biggest thing is that it's profitable from day one because a lot of where quilt shops lose money is they order too much of something or they make a bad buy. They think something is going to sell and then it goes
Right.
flat. And that's where quilt shops struggle because once you start having to clearance stuff out, that's when you're
You
sometimes
lose the
paying
profits off of
people
the
to
things that,
take your, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's basically how I gained the stash that I have was from a quilt shop that became unprofitable, unfortunately. And I was able to gain a lot of Allison
It's
Glass
so
and True Love
easy.
from them.
Well, and that's
Um,
kind of, what we were so big. I'll say it out loud. We had to make $75,000 a month in order to break even,
it's
which is
wild.
insane. Insane. I
You
mean,
were the biggest or the second biggest fabric store in the state of Illinois?
I think we're the second biggest. Quilting in the Valley was only bigger than us, and that's because they had a bunch of locations that they were buying for.
They do have a lot of locations. Yeah. They had one in
So,
Peoria for a while. They had one in the Quad Cities. They, of course, have their, what is it, LaSalle, Peru,
yeah.
Ottawa, something like that store.
But yeah, we were the
Something
second
in the middle
largest.
there.
And we didn't even have a storefront. We did that all
You had for a
online.
little bit, but that's not when it was the big
No.
thing.
That storefront only ever paid for itself. The other thing I would recommend if anyone is ever looking for business advice is make sure you know what areas of your business are profitable and which ones aren't. I figured out a way pretty early on to be able to track my revenue from in-store purchases and trade shows and online separately. And I was also tracking all the expenses separately so that I knew what was making money and what wasn't. And so before 2020 even happened, we knew that the quilt or the brick and mortar store only ever paid
Right.
for itself. That was it. Even Saturdays, our best sales day of the week, only paid for a person to work there and for the fabric to leave the shop. That was it. And I was not
So
going.
that was a passion project at that point.
Well, yeah, I was not going to give up every single Saturday when I had two small kids and another one on the way
Right.
to exchange my time, basically work for free every Saturday. It wasn't going to happen.
Right.
So we switched to a location where we were going to be able to focus more online. We were going to be open one Saturday a week, and I didn't care if people showed up or not. And I had people who did not understand that. They were mad about it. I had an own team member who was mad about it. And I was like,
But I can't
I'm
make
not
it
going to do
work.
it.
It doesn't
Yeah.
mathematically work.
Yeah.
I see it over and over again on Instagram, for example, these businesses that are valued in their community, but yet the community is not necessarily supporting to the point where the business makes a lot of sense. And so they're like, but we value you. You can't close. And they're like, but value doesn't equal dollars.
Trade shows are the same. Paducah, if you have a double booth, you need to make $10,000 before you make a single cent of profit.
Ouch.
Yeah. And if you're selling modern fabric at Paducah,
You're not the only one.
you're not going to make some profit. It's really hard. And so I only did a
Yeah.
single booth the first year and I made profit. And then but it was so hard to get in cuz it and just navigate in there. And then when we did the second year and I went to a double booth, I made more money, but I had no profit because I had to pay somebody to come and work with me the whole time. And it
Oof.
was like I had no money at the end of the day. I mean, I grew the brand, so you could call it marketing, but I also going into 2020, we had made the decision like I'm having a baby. We know, with the exception of QuiltCon, none of these shows had a net profit. Net is what you make after your expenses, what you have to
Stephanie, are
actually.
we, sorry to interrupt you, but are we having some internet problem right now? Because it looks like it might be updating, but like it says it's uploading, but it changed the things on the side of my screen.
Can you guys hear us?
Can you hear us
I
over
know
there?
that it sounded like, well, there's still 20 people watching.
Right over there, but then I
might
see that
be
it
a
changed over
time
here.
limit
I
on
wonder if we hit the
Riverside.
time limit because
We maybe
mine's saying
did.
uploading. I have a, well, we'll find out here in a second because mine's saying web uploading. I've uploaded almost the whole thing. I don't know.
Oh, it's good. Well, it's always been uploading. You maybe have just noticed it for right
No,
now.
the side screen changed, but I'm
Oh.
hoping that everything's okay. Sorry to,
Jody
sorry,
Webb says they can hear
this
us.
is a new program for us, so
Yeah.
we're still figuring it out. The
This is
things
our
changed
first
on the
test
side.
of
I
it.
had to click something. But you were saying that you went to Paducah. You basically didn't make any money.
We
the
didn't
next
make
time.
any money. And so at the end of 2019, we knew we weren't going to do any shows, which ended up being awesome for us because when all the shows got canceled, we didn't have all of our deposits out.
Oh gosh,
And
that makes a lot of
which
sense.
is thousands of dollars of money just out there. And so, you know, I'm like, I know I'm going to be losing out on God knows how much money, but that's gross profit. That's not your net profit. And so when we closed the two areas of the business that were basically time sucks, that's when everything grew online. Because what I didn't realize was if you take away the part of your business that isn't making money, but is taking all of your time, and then you take that time resource because that's
and recycle
and put it in, that's when it just went bananas. Just absolutely bananas.
Well, you also hit at a beautiful time because you hit at COVID time. And so you
We
were
were
able
very
to
lucky.
grow when people were interested in hobbies, and some of their hobbies included not getting diseases by making masks.
Yeah. Well, yes, that we had a video go viral, and that was huge for us on mask making. And then the other big part of it was every single product we sold was already online, ready to buy. Whereas many of the other quilt shops were doing like Facebook Lives and like comments sold.
Like LuLaRoe.
Yeah, basically. And so they had maybe thousands of bolts of fabric and no way to sell them. And people who just come and buy, and we would ship it out. And it was wild. It was totally wild. But what was really encouraging though is when the whole mask making thing died down, we doubled overnight and like significant. Like we're talking like $30,000 to $60,000 a month overnight.
Oh my gosh.
But then we maintained and grew. And Stashing with Stephanie was a big part of that. And being able to have time to focus on videos to get people excited about doing things.
And we're excited for more videos.
I know. It's going to happen. I have videos filmed that just need to be
edited. I know you do.
We were talking about this today. She's like, why are we not putting it out? And I'm like, I don't know. I filmed it in November.
And by we, I mean you.
But
well, you got to put those things out there so that everybody sees them. I mean,
the other
everybody's itching for the information.
I would never do again is I would never take out a business loan. Ever.
And that seems fair. at
That's
this
me
point.
personally, because like we were doing just fine until we weren't. And it was not being able to make those business loan payments that ultimately put us under.
That happens to a lot of businesses,
Yeah.
actually. It's not uncommon. It's kind of like going to a check into the cash and having unrealistic expectations of what you have to do to be able to like
Yeah.
hold up those bargains.
Because we went, I mean, basically 75,000 was what we needed to break even. And within it always dips a little bit, in the
Mhm.
winter months, like January, February, people are recovering from Christmas. And so we're like, okay, well, it'll pick back up. And it just never did. And so when we were at like half, we did like 35,000 one month. And I was like, I'm not taking out any more financing. The writing is on the wall. We're done. And so that was
That
the
makes
moment
sense.
where I was like, okay, this is it.
But
Need to
it
pivot.
wasn't that easy to process either. It wasn't like we're just it and this is it and I'm gonna pick back up. I mean, it took you a while, but
Well, it took a while because of all the legal stuff that needed to go on in the back end.
it
And my
also,
lawyer was
I mean, it
slow,
mentally takes a
but
little toll. It
for
just
sure.
you needed time.
I
But
was
I
a hot
think
mess
you're
for a
pretty
while.
safe in saying that you're coming back. I
Oh,
mean, you got a fabric line. You got 2 fabric lines.
I have 2 fabric lines coming. We've got cruises planned. I've got ideas up the wazoo, and now it's just a matter of figuring out what is working in today's marketing landscape because I've kind of been
That's
out
true.
of
It's
the
a
loop
different
for a little
land
bit.
2 years later.
It is. Like everybody's on the shorts now. And so
The economy is a very different place.
my thought today was like, okay, so I want to do still long form content because like
That's
I
your
was
bread and
trying to
butter.
well, I was trying to figure out how to do a magic loop something or other for crochet, and it all I was finding was these shorts, and it was explained so fast that I had no idea what the hell was going on, and I couldn't do
Right.
it.
If you actually wanted to know how to do it, you need a long form video.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm just gonna wait until I see my sister and she'll show me how. And like not everybody has a sister they can go see to show them how to
figure it out. Yeah.
So what my plan is to still do the long form videos, probably less of them, but then cut everything into short content. So that way if you see something from me where you're like, this is cool, I want to learn more, you can then go watch the full video and learn all of it. So because I never want to get away from that. I don't want it to be so fast that you're like miss everything or you're like constantly pausing.
There are some things in quilting that you can say right off the bat, like, what are your preferences on, thread? Well, I like this, that, and the other thing. What are your preferences on, pressing to the side or open? I like pressing open. But there are other things that you really need to explain. Like, explain to me how to make these 4 at a time flying geese because it's not making a lot of sense. That is not something to have a short, tight video.
I can cut
Sometimes you need
that
something.
in 90 seconds, and I have.
Yes.
But if you
90
want to
seconds,
watch the whole thing, you can. And
That's important.
I've got a video on 3 ways to sew an accurate 1/4 inch seam. Can we cut that in 90 seconds? Yep. Can you watch it in a little bit slower and digest it a little better? Also, yes. So that's going to be the kind of stuff that I'm going to look at and look at the content that already exists and think, how can I make this in a way that's accessible for the way people are viewing content today? And hopefully get some more video views on some of the great stuff that already exists. And just like we were talking about earlier, how are you going to spend your time? Do I have time to do 2 to 3 videos a week anymore? No, I do not. I can do 2 really good ones probably a month.
But the short I can throw in there throughout because like we sit here on here for 2 hours. There's a lot of good content that could be told in 90 seconds. Not that we don't want you all here. We love you all here. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that it can't be created into a couple shorts and benefit Stephanie in some sort of way by pulling some of that.
Well, and Chantel too, if we ever actually make any ad money on this.
I know, right?
That'd be great. Or get us.
I just want to pay for the basic service. That would be great.
I know. Right now, it paid for the Zoom subscription.
It pays for the Zoom
anymore. But like, I mean, how many different sewing organization things do we go through today? Each one of those could be a short, easy.
That's true.
But
something to consider. But it is also bedtime.
It is bedtime. All right. You
What
got
time is it even?
Business 101 and how not to go bankrupt from Stephanie. And don't do that.
Don't go bankrupt.
Don't.
Here's what
It's
not to do.
I don't recommend it. It's not very fun. But yeah.
We
All right.
appreciate you if you're still here, but yeah, don't go
We're
bankrupt.
gonna
That's
call
the
it a
key.
night. But yes. Have a good night, everyone. And I believe we're here next week. I'll be at my parents' place, so that'll be entertaining. I'll be in the basement at my parents' place, is what
I
happens.
was going to say, John's on call, so Lord knows what that next weekend might end up looking like. Keep working on your rooms. Just keep working on your surfaces and your floors, and start considering what you're going to be doing for your organization, because that might be the motivating factor that you need. Stephanie, also, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to leave or if I'm supposed to stay or you're supposed to end.
You are supposed to stay. I'm going to